focuses on expense management and remargining your business. So the main ideas are perspective on expense management, measuring your market, size your business, cut the fat, make the most of what you have, the bottom line, and then creating an action plan with it. All right, so let's jump right in. Perspective on expense management. Perspective on the expense management, so protect your margin. When the market shifts, your margins become your biggest issue. Right now, what do you guys make when you sell a home? What's your average commission right now?
2.5.
2.5. What do you take home? GCI, gross commission income.
Isn't the average like 85?
That's a year ago. Last year, our average gross commission income was $9,200. Right? That takes all the land, that takes everything in comparison. But to be fair, if you sell a house right now, average sales price is what? $450. On average sales price, if you got 2.5% of that, or 2%, I mean, it's roughly $10,000. Right? What happens when the market shifts?
Prices come down.
We're still on commission. Right?
Yeah.
So it takes the same amount of effort to make less money. That make sense?
Yep.
So protecting your margins equals saving your business. It's time to cut back on expenses. Unless you nail it down, it goes. All right? So a lot of us are like, expenses? I don't even have a P&L. So now it's time to get serious around what you're going to spend and budgeting if you don't have a business plan or something like that, to really focus on what you're going to be spending your money on and being strategic. So if you get those phone calls, you get those emails, hey, we have only 3 spots left for an agent in your area and we got qualified buyers. Maybe we don't invest in those right now, right? So, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Who will be affected? Can I really thrive in a down market?
Yeah.
No and yes. So in the short term, guys, everyone will be affected. Everyone will feel the downturn equally, right? I'll draw this for you real quick, and I've drawn this before. Get this on the camera. How does a market shift?
Upward.
This is a seller's market, right? Can I see that on Zoom?
Yes.
So seller's market, right? This is buyer's market. All right? So the pendulum swings. When it comes here, think of it like a golf swing. When the pendulum swings, it goes into a seller's market and it's slow and steady all the way back through the swing. And it stays, right? We've been stuck up here in a seller's market for the last 10 years. It stays in that area for a while. One of the reasons why the public has certainty that it's a seller's market. They're good with what's going on in the market. That makes sense?
Yep.
So it's a slow, hold on. It's a slow, steady movement in here. When the market starts to shift, it comes back slowly, and that's where we're kind of at right now. Just like in a golf swing, comes back slow, and then what happens? You accelerate through the ball, right? So as you accelerate through the ball, it shifts over to a buyer's market pretty quickly. And we're in that transition from slowly to fast. And it goes slow to fast, right into the buyer's market. And this is uncertain times. As it swings through. People are uncertain with what's going to happen, right? Then we flow right into a buyer's market, and then people are certain that it's a buyer's market again and things start to pick up. So we're in this uncertainty area. Does that feel uncertain right now, what's going to go on?
Yes.
Yeah? Everyone kind of feels that? Like, we are uncertain.
We know what's happening.
We're the economists of choice for our clients, for our database, for our friends and family. We are uncertain. Like, oh, our interest rate's going to go up again? Yeah, probably. Right? We don't know what's going to keep happening. Oh, gas prices came down a little. Woo, thanks, dude. Like, who we blaming now? Like, I don't know, right? So we're at uncertain times right now, and we're going to be shifting into that buyer's market, and it will be quick. During this uncertain times, though, everybody suffers. Everybody kind of feels that little ugh. In the short term, everyone is affected by the market. They will feel the downturn equally. But by cutting expenses fast, anyone can thrive during the long term. So you have to survive that downswing as it goes into the buyer's market, put yourself in position to then thrive. Make sense? Any questions on that before I move on?
How do you build their confidence when everybody's so questionable?
So you have to be the economist of choice. So last class we kind of talked a little bit about really knowing the numbers, really knowing the economy and being the media. That's one way you could do it. So if you're not telling your friends and family of what's going on and being the person, saying interest rates are going to raise. They are. Historically, interest rates are an average of 8%, 6%. It's still a good time to buy. Are you paying rent? Are you going to be here for the next 5 years? Still a good time to buy. Is it better to pay someone else's mortgage and high interest rate or pay your own? It's still a good time to buy. If you're selling, you're being okay. Is it time to sell? Yeah, I would probably try to sell real quickly if you're thinking about the next 5 months, because in the next 5 months it might be a lot harder. You still need to be the message of what's going on and letting your people know consistently. If they're listening to you and not the media, they're hearing what you're telling them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Get your money in shape. Go ahead, you have a question, Danelle?
I do. I was gonna ask, so where is the best place to get the information on what's going on? Like yesterday you said that the media that you're following and looking at will like influence you on that. So, but like the accurate information, where is the best place to actually go ahead and look at it? Because
So-
every time you want to try to find something, like there's like thousands of things that are there. So what would you suggest to follow?
So there's a couple different spots you could go. So one of the big real estate news sources, but I think you have to have a membership, is called Inman News. They do a lot of stuff on the real estate companies, and a lot of times they have their economists and stuff in there talking about what they think is going to happen. I like to keep things micro, really local. So I just go into Flex MLS, and then it's called Inman News, INMAN.com. I think you have to pay. They're like a Wall Street Journal, and they give you the stuff up front. So I have a couple different news sources that I like, but really I like to also make my own news when I was doing real estate, meaning that I would go to just Flex and I would see what they were showing and I would give my opinion on what was going on. I would come to classes and I would hear what other people were saying and I would formulate my own opinions of kind of what was going on. I would read a lot of like the Wall Street Journal too, just to kind of see what's going on at a macro level. And I would Google just some financial, there's a website that I would look at quite often. It was like investment.org or something like that, and they'd have good pieces on what they thought the economy was doing, and I would read it and I would just formulate my own words. So there's a lot out there if you just kind of Google and find someone that you like and trust on YouTube that does the same thing. Tigo Venturi is a real estate agent out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. He has one of the largest team. He is the largest team in Albuquerque. He came here once and did a thing for the office. Great agent. Just follow him on Facebook, or not Facebook, on Twitter, or I think he does Instagram. He just posts tweets and things that he's going. He records videos. See what he's doing. Copy what he does.
What is his name?
Tigo Venturi. Tugo, then Ventri, I believe. Right around there. You could Google him. He'll pop up. Follow him. See what he puts out, and it's really good content. He is the media source for a lot of his people out there.
There's also one called Morning Brew.
Morning Brew's another good one.
Is it an email?
It's an email that you
Yeah,
get.
email every morning.
Yep.
Yeah.
They send you an email every morning of what's going on. They're more macro, and they do more about set of real estate, but you can formulate your own opinion on that as well. And don't be scared to give your opinion. All right. Phenomenal appointments exist, but you need to be fighting fit if you want to take advantage of them. So follow these steps. Measure your market, size your business, cut the fat, and make the most of what you have. So guys, if you're newer into real estate, you're getting into the game, and you're like, oh man, this is, I'll be completely honest with you. This is actually a great time to get into real estate, and a terrible time to get into real estate. So here's why it's great. You won't know any better, and it will take you a lot of work for you to be successful. And a ton of agents will fail, and it'll be easier for you to look successful and to go if you do the hard work. The bad part about getting into real estate right now, it was a lot easier the last 3 years. It was just easier. Things were just, you put it on the market, it seemed to sell in 2 seconds. You didn't have to do anything. If you got a listing, like, wow, I sold it, ooh, that was easy. It will take more effort today than it would last year. Gary Keller started his first year real estate, 1979. Interest rates were 16%. Sellers had to pay down points to get the house to sell. He hit his goals. He didn't know any better. He's like, that's what you had to do to sell homes. So he came in at the hardest time in history to sell real estate and sold a bunch of real estate. It worked out for him, right? Getting the most out of the experience, we did that last time. We'll jump into measure your market. Follow the pendulum swing. Monitor these 6 market indicators carefully. If they are shifting, start making timely cuts in your expenses. Are we noticing more inventory?
Yes.
How much more?
300 more.
More than double. Almost, it's triple. More than triple. 268% year over year, right? Increased days on market. How's that looking? It's going up a little. Nothing too crazy yet, but something to pay attention to. Fewer pendings. You guys paying attention to that?
Definitely. More price cuts too.
A smaller board. It's not happening yet. We're still having a ton of agents come in. Lower production and volume from the top people. And then fewer leads. Right, so who here is buying leads? Nobody? A few of us online, a few of us on there. Right, so you might see fewer leads coming in if you're using Opcity or some of these other platforms, Ojo, Realtor, or Zillow. You might notice less of those leads coming in that you were paying for at the time, right? So it's got to pay attention to these things, because if you're spending, how many of us know how much we spend a month on our business? So we should all have our hands up, right? We should have some sort of, if we don't spend anything, then we know our number is 0. That's okay, right? But if you're spending a little bit of marketing over here, a few Facebook ads over here, you want to know what your budget is and what that looks like. Right now, if I know I run a $100 ad campaign on command, and I go in there and create an ad campaign, I would expect about 35 to 40 leads, all right? And as those leads dwindle down, and I'm seeing maybe less conversion on those, am I still going to go spend that same amount of money each week that I was spending?
No.
And it's up to you. Those might still be worth it, because $100 is cheap. To get 30 leads that may close 4 years from now, it might be worth it to you. It depends on where you're at in your budgeting and what you have in your savings account, if things do get tight. Right? That makes sense? Yes?
Yes.
Yes. And if we don't have a budget, remember guys, you're small business owners, you're small business owners, you're small business owners. If you don't have a P&L, here's what you do. On the first of every month, you open up your bank account and you go through each line of what you spent and go, is that for business? And you type it in. Target run, open house, $40. Everything you spent. And then you go to your profit section, you go, did I close a deal? No, 0, spent. There's your P&L. You lost $480. Next month, I closed 2 deals. I made $14,000. Profit. What's my loss? I go through each line. Something. There's websites that do it super easy. You can go to QuickBooks online, $6 a month or something like that, and it'll link to your accounts.
All you need is a spreadsheet, and you can download that for free.
It's super easy. It's not hard to have a profit and loss to know what your business is doing and what you're spending your money on. Then you can hold your money accountable to see what it's bringing you in return. At the end of the year, if I go look, my Facebook ads, I spent $3,000 on these, and I made 4 deals. I spent $16,000 on Zillow, and I made 5 deals. Well, maybe I'll cancel Zillow and just do more Facebook ads. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
But you have to track your numbers to know that. You have to know where your money's going. You have to pay attention. You're all small business owners. You have to remind yourself, you're the CEO of your business. If I wanted to walk up to you and say, hey, I want to buy your business, you go, oh, well, I got nothing to buy. You're not a business owner. You're just someone running around with your head chopped off. So what's your P&L? What does your database look like? What systems and models am I buying? And then ask yourself, if you were the CEO was to be hired, would they fire you? If you had a board of directors looking around at you as the CEO of your business, would they fire you? Answer yourself those honest questions, and then that should be motivation for you to get your butt in order and go get what you gotta get done. All right? Measure your market. Watch your pipeline. All right. Pipeline, 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 pipeline. 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 How many of us have pipelines? A couple of us.
What is that?
So what's a pipeline? So a pipeline is what's your business that's going to be coming over time. Right? The whole point, the whole thing of what we have to do in this business is keep that pipeline full. You're going to see some beautiful art.
I'm excited for
Some
it.
call me an artist. This writing and spelling is my specialty. Art's right up there. It's the next one. All right.
Go ahead, Van Gogh.
Van Gogh.
Perfect. And then so this is your pipeline. This top thing right here. So you go do an open house. A neighbor walks in. They're curious what the house is prime for. They might be getting a job in Texas. They're thinking about moving next 3 to 6 months. They don't know though. You get their name and information. That's someone that goes to your pipeline. Right? We lead gen to get people in our pipeline. They fall through, for this little section, is our follow-up. So we put a bunch in here, we keep following up, a bunch will fall out, right? But then a few will fall through through our follow-up that will then get us into, even less people, into a contract. And then less people will fall through into escrow. And then finally, boop, you get one out there, a deal. That's real estate. There it is. My great art. You lead gen every day to fill the pipeline. You follow up every day. By the way, the fortune's in the follow-up. This is where most of us fail. Follow up every day to get contracts. And you keep doing this to keep filling it because only one will pop out with the 15 you put in there. Make sense? So how do you watch your pipeline? Well, first you have to have one. What tool do you have to use at KW that gives you if you want to use this pipeline tool?
Command.
Which one? Opportunities?
Opportunities, contracts.
In your opportunity section, that first section you could fill up. You could fill that sucker full as best you want. If you guys don't like command, you like old school
Agendas.
Excel spreadsheet, email me and I'll send you a copy. I have a really nice Excel spreadsheet pipeline. Now, command makes it easy because you meet the contact and you type it in there, and then you can create the opportunity and put them there, and you can follow up and move them over and do all the stuff you got to do, put them on smart plans. That's the easy system, but this is it. So that's pipeline. So how many people do you have in your pipeline over the next 60 days that are looking to buy or sell? If it's 0, well then you need to not be spending any money. Like, don't spend money, right? Because you're not going to make any money for the next 90 days. Because it takes escrows a while to close, even if you do get somebody. Even if your phone rings tomorrow, and someone's like, I want to go buy $1 million home, a lot of us then go spend some money, woohoo, before it even happens. That's going to take months, right? So if your pipeline's not consistently being filled and you don't know what's even in there, right?
I was just going to share, I have a couple people in particular in my pipeline who I've had there for like 4 years. I've met them 4 years ago. We were attempting to sell their house and da-da-da. They've been in my pipeline. They still haven't sold their house yet, but through them, I've gotten 3 referrals and have closed those deals. So I think I probably have one person, I've gotten 5 deals
Yeah, that's
out
beautiful.
of that relationship,
Yep.
who we still haven't even sold their house yet. But they still work in that pipeline.
But that's all right there. The fortune is in the follow-up. So if you keep following up with the
Yeah.
person,
Yeah.
if you meet someone in an open house and they say they're going to buy or sell in the next 3 to 6 months, and you wait around your phone to ring like, wow, it's been 7 months and they still haven't called me. That's weird.
Yeah,
Keep waiting.
I think what's that? Was it Route, not Route 66? I messed up the joke, it's all right. What's that new place opening up called? Crab Broiler? That's right there, the old famous Dave's.
Oh,
Pier 88?
Yeah.
Whatever that is, yeah, they're hiring for those people. Okay.
Yep.
Calculate how many closings you have and your projected income for those closings. A lot of people don't keep their eye on the ball until they go to the bank and realize their checking account is empty. So they better get to work. But I constantly watch my 30 to 60 days ahead of me to know what my closed income is. Guys, Command Pipeline tells you your projected income. It tells you right there. And if you use it at a high level, it'll keep track of your conversion rate. As you move people over, it'll give you your conversion rate. So you know if you put 20 people in there, you're going to convert 3 of them on average. You've got to keep getting 20 people in there to get those businesses closed if you use the tools that are given to you. Okay, so how many closings are in your pipeline for the next 2 months? Go through there on page 13, 14, 15-ish, right around there. How many closings are in your pipeline for the next few months? What is your projected income for the closed transactions? What will be your average monthly income based on your next 60-day projection? Sarah, the sheet should be on there, that link in the chat.
Page 11.
Should be page 11 on the drive. Mike shared it up there. And Mike, if it's not working, will you jump in there and fix that? By the way, I'm probably going to kill George, but that's okay. I still love him.
Even in death.
Even in death. Better have a flat tire or something. That's okay. I like teaching. I just would have liked to look over this before I was teaching it, but I've done this one before, so I remember. All right, so that's for you. If the number is 0, what's our first activity tomorrow? Try again.
Cut expenses.
Do you have a formula for calculating projections?
So you need to know your numbers. So if you know, for example, that you're 1 in 4 and you're 25% of the people that you think are going to work with you actually do, because that's what it is over time, then you just take 25% of the total income between those people, and then that's your projected. So that's typically how you do it. But if you don't know, if you're just going off averages, it's very difficult because you might be 1 in 20. It depends on what you consider a good lead or a good prospect to be put in your pipeline and how good you're converting those. So everyone's individual, it's hard to say. But back to this real quick, if you don't have any money in your pipeline, the first thing you guys need to do is step back and create a plan in the 1 through 5 about getting into business as quick as you can. So we all like yell Legion, but what does that mean? What opportunity, what are you going to do? Are you going to go network events? Are you going to start trying to focus in on, last time we talked about new buyer seminars or open houses. Just doing something is better than nothing. But having a plan and doing something with strategy and purpose is the best thing to do. That make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Did I answer your question, by the way?
Roland?
Roland, did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to say, but normally you just take whatever your conversion rate is by the people in your pipeline.
So
So if you're
practically-
10% and you have $1 million in there, then your 100,000 is most likely what the GCI would be over that time.
So practically what you suggest is to do a prospectus on your business overall.
Yeah. And if you really use Command, the pipeline tool at a high level that Mike taught last time, once you put 50 people through the process from leaving or being in there, it'll tell you what your numbers are. So that very first section, if you put
I'm
50
working
in
on
there,
that, but
so it will do it over time.
It-
The average is like 5%. It gives you right in the beginning is like 5% on that first section. So if you need to put in 4 or 5 million worth of volume, to be able to pump out $100,000.
so as long as I'm on that curve of learning the program or the software and implementing it,
Yep.
so.
And many of us are, and that's okay, and then just keep coming to those classes that Mike's teaching, keep plugging away at it because it's a great tool. Size of your business. It's time to take a cold, hard look at your financial situation. Once you have a clear picture of your financial situation, it'll be easier to see what adjustments should be made. Look at 2 broad categories, your personal expenses and your business expenses. How many of us have a budget with our personal expenses? Good for you guys, right? Being on the same plan, especially if you're have a significant other, and having the same amount is real important, especially coming at this time, knowing that, hey, maybe it's not time for us to go on that extra trip or that extra thing. That makes sense? Making sure you guys are on the same thing, realizing what's coming on, getting the finances in order will help both sides. Your personal expenses. Your lifestyle may need some adjustments. It's not just time for extensive vacation, redecorating your home, or buying a new car. I mean, I've been preaching it for the last, I think, 6 months, 5 months. Saying, please pay off debt before we jump into new cars, just with the time that's coming. If it's getting still good right now and you're still selling a few things, pay off those credit cards, get yourself in order, keep those expenses low. I like this extensive vacations. It's me and my wife's 10-year anniversary, and we have like way too much stuff planned this year. And I'm like, man, we should be saving it. That's okay, it'll be fine. She's like, it's time for a new ring. You were poor when you got me this one. I'm like, oh shoot. Just kidding. She's not on here. She'll kill me. Don't tell her. Okay. Categorize your personal. She doesn't sound like that, by the way. I'm just being a comedian. It's not real. I don't see her name on there, but if it is, I'm
Come on, be honest. Be honest, in the inside, she sounds like that.
I don't know what you're talking about. So categorize all your personal expenses so you know exactly where your money is going. Hold your money accountable. There's an app called Truebill you can download. It's free. It shows you exactly how much money you spend. If you want to go puke, go look at all the money you spend by using Truebill on stupid crap. I looked at it once. I'm like, I'm not looking at that again. That's terrible. Adjust your lifestyle costs just below your projected income. That way, you can be pleasantly surprised with extra. So if you're looking at what's coming up, let's say you've been doing some open houses, you've been calling your database, and you have 4 people that are on the brink of doing that, so you expect probably 2 of them, maybe 2 of them to actually close the next little time. So you see yourself making about $15,000 the next month or so. Well, that's about $5,000 a month for the next 3 months, so you need to make sure everything is below that. By the way, you got to pay taxes on that. So now we need to be down to about $10,000 for the next 3 months, right? And we have to live below our means. It's hard for most of us, we're Americans. Why do I need to do that? I got credit cards, damn it. Examine your personal expenses. How much are you spending? And which categories are costing you the most? It's important to get your expenses in line. This is the hard part. So I challenge you guys to take this and open up your bank account for the month as you're doing your P&L and really look at what you're spending money on. Do you really need Netflix, Google Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, Disney Plus?
Yeah.
You need all these at once?
Those are necessities.
I need ESPN Plus.
My husband and I made a PDF sheet tailored to the business, so I can put that up on the KW.
Yeah, share it.
Page or whatever.
Yep, absolutely share it. That would be great. Your business. Follow a budget for your business. What is the best budget to follow? The one you'll actually follow. Right, wait, there's 3 major models in a real estate business. Who knows them? Actually, there's 4 major models, and there's actually going to be a 5th soon, but who knows them for extra credit points? I'll give you a clue. ELBO. It's the acronym to remember. ELBO. It's in the MREA.
No.
ELBO. You've gotten there. Here's the 4 models. Ready? Your economic model.
Oh, I have to.
So what's your economic model? How many appointments do you need to go on to net the money that you want to net to be successful working backwards? Your L, that was E, I'm sorry. Then it's L, your lead generation model. What kind of lead generation plan are you going to do to hit the goals that you want to hit? What's your plan? Then your B, what's B? Budget model. How much are you going to spend? What is realistic? What do you have? If you're like, I'm going to make, $1 million in real estate. What's your expenses? Well, I don't know. Well, you need to know. Because you can't do that by yourself. You're going to have to hire an assistant. How much are you going to pay them? What's going to be in your budget? You're going to have a big marketing campaign. How much are you going to spend? What does that look like? Right? You have to have a budget to know what you're allowing yourself to spend. You need to follow the budget. Meaning that if you do money for training each year, that you're like, okay, I'm gonna put $2,000 towards training, and I'm gonna put $10,000 towards marketing, right? And it comes to the point, you're like, oh, I wanna go to mega camp this year, great, and it's gonna cost me $1,500. Well, then do you go to family reunion? Well, no, because it's past your budget, right? You spent more than what you said. Don't just go on a whim. Oh, this new Tom Ferry event, I gotta go, right? You know, you have a budget for a reason. You're gonna stay within the budget that you've allowed for yourself. It's a business. I have to send the budget for Keller Williams, this office, to international to get approved every year, every month, or every 6 months. And then when we get that budget, if we have major variances at the end of the month, we have to discuss it, figure out what's going on, right? You might approve things, it makes sense. But if I've spent a ton of money in a technology department that we didn't budget for it, is why did we do that? What are we spending that expense on? Should we have done that? Make sense? Super easy for me to review the financials. I go to the variance section and see what's off. Then when things are off, then we dive in. Make sense?
Yes.
All right. Pinpoint how much you are spending. Complete a P&L statement and chart of accounts from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. If you guys go ahead.
What was the last one?
Right, the last two.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I finished it off. The last one is your operations model.
That's like a team.
So that's if you're building a team, who's your first hire?
Your assistant.
TC.
Your TC or your assistant. Who's your second hire?
The buyers. The buyers.
Second assistant. Right? There you go, different levels. And so how do you do that? How's a good way to do an operations model? Right now you sit down and you forecast in 5 years what your team's going to look like. But don't just create it out of your thin air. Go open up the MREA and look at their operations model, right? If you guys go to kellerinc.com, they have figures and they have a lot of this information for you. So if you're like, oh, I really want a really great P&L or chart of accounts and I really want to get crazy or give it to my accountant to do it the right way, they'll actually have an Excel spreadsheet with a chart of accounts you can click on and see exactly how a big team would run it. Make sense? So you can go to Keller Inc., you can go to the, Keller Inc., by the way, is where all the books are for like MREA, Shift, The One Thing, all Gary Keller's books. But he has figures and different things and tools that you could use for your business. Find your margin.
Wait, W.
W.
There is no W.
Oh, okay.
So it's elbow, it's just ELBO. ELBO. There are adding an E for expansion, in an expansion model. So for the teams that grow so big that they're gonna expand into other networks. But that's not that's in MREA 2.0. It's just not out yet. So ELBO. It's 4 models for any real estate business. Sorry, I get my mind wandering and I don't finish my thoughts. Find your margin. Tally up both your monthly personal and business expenses. Then subtract your personal and business expenses from your monthly income. There's your margins. Make sense? Super simple. What's your margins? So you guys have your workbook here, and the point of this stuff, because we don't have time to do it, is together in class. This is normally a 2-hour type class. Take these with you and go open up your bank account and do the activities to really get serious about what you are with your expenses. If you're brand new, take these with you and put these into your habits right away. Make sense? So a lot of us are newer and we're like, I don't really have a lot of expenses. I haven't done this yet. Great, start correct. Do it the right way from the beginning. It's much easier to start doing the things with the system than just running around with your head chopped off and then growing something big and then going back and trying to figure it out. If your income is lower than expenses, or if the margin is tight, you must immediately take action. All right? So you have to cut expenses and step up your lead gen. If you don't have any expenses, then you got to make a lead gen plan and hit it hard. This isn't a lead gen class. And if you're like, what do I do? Do something. What is something? I don't care, anything. Whatever works for you, whatever you like. I watched a brand new agent who was not good at real estate at all, and was terrible at deals. And now she's a top producer, and all she did was live on Instagram. She's like, coming into another class, at another open house. One of her open houses, hey, what's up, blah, 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 blah. And that's all she did. And I'm like, and she kept getting business because people saw her. It's like, wow, this girl's killing it. She's working really hard. She was working hard, but she was just like the queen of Instagram. And she got all this. What the hell she was doing? Didn't matter. She got a lot of business. Now she knows what she's doing. She's making a ton of money, right? Figure out something that you will do and go do that at a high level. Get on YouTube, figure out what other people are doing, follow what they've done, whatever that looks like, okay? Do the open houses at a high level. I don't have any listings. Get on MLS, go to office listings, see all our office listings, call the agent, say, hey, can I do an open house for you? That was my, every single Tuesday I did that. And I pulled it up and I'm like, what's a busy cross streets? 30th and L? That's where I want to be. I want a bunch of people coming through my open houses. Sometimes people told me no because they were doing them or they couldn't. But they didn't. They were like, oh, I'm offended. You called me to ask to do an open house? No, they're like, hell yeah. Steve Burton told me, he's like, if I ever have anything empty, don't call me, just do it. And I was like, okay. This was back when they had a lot more REOs and open houses, or houses that were vacant. But that was the relationships I built with the agents because I asked, because I wanted to do open houses because I was good at it. And I didn't like cold calling, so that's what I did. Okay, cut the fat. It's rude. I feel like it's talking to me specifically right now. It's just thinking about starting the diet. All right, take stock and look for results. Keep one question uppermost in your mind. How does this expense help produce a buyer or seller lead? If you can't answer that question, maybe it's time to cut the expense. For every dollar we invest, we expect a multiple return. So if I spend money on Facebook leads through command, if I spend $100, if I don't have a 4x return, probably a 400x return, I ain't doing it, right? If I spend $100 and I get 30 leads, and eventually over time that will get me one deal, I'll do that all day, right? But if I go spend $100 on a Facebook ad and I get 30 leads and I have no plan or any idea of what to do with those leads and do nothing with them, it's time to cut that. If you're not going to go spend the time to put a strategy together to follow up with these leads, at least 10 straight days, calling, texting, following up with them, to try to set an appointment or at least put them on a 36-touch program so they stay in touch with them over the next years, then it's not worth doing. You're just wasting money. So cut it. Do something you will do. If you're like, yeah, I'm never going to follow up with people that it's not my skill set or whatever. You should, A, try to learn that skill set, have a growth mindset, figure it out. B, do something else that you will do. Right? You're like, Roland's like, I can't do that, but I'm the king of Instagram. Hey, I'm at another training. I can see Roland doing that. Take stock and look for results. Try zero-based budgeting. Cut every expense back to zero. Reallocate funds to your justifiable expenses. So if you're going through your budget and you're realizing that you're spending a lot of money in this marketing thing, whatever it is, right? Cut it off. Go back to zero if it's not producing results. If you're looking at you're looking at what you've done this last year. Let's say you've done 15, 20 deals this last year, and you're looking back at where it came from. Hopefully you have that system to know. Really allocate what makes sense. If you're spending $200 every open house because you want these fresh baked cookies and you want all this stuff, and you realize that you've made one deal from open houses, but you've made 15 deals from your sphere of influence and you're spending zero money on them, maybe it's time to reallocate funds. Does that make sense? But you have to know your numbers, where things are coming from. You have to track. If you have a good funnel, you could put where they came from and you'll know exactly where those opportunities are coming from. In command, you could tag them. Okay, start cutting, snail mail, office space, vendor contracts, print advertising, office supplies, all ideas you could do. If you're doing snail mail and sending out a bunch of stuff, you're not seeing a lot of results, it's costing you a few $100s a month, things to think. Office space, a lot of agents, they have this pride thing about offices. It's like, oh, I've earned this office and I want it, and their production's way down and they're not doing business. I'm like, give it up, you're wasting $200 a month. Like, who cares? But it's like this pride thing where they want the office. Give it up. Don't waste money on things you're not using. So think of 2 areas where you can make cuts today. Think of 3 more areas where you can commit to making cuts starting next week. By the way, guys, Gary Keller had us go through our financials here at the office, and we had to do this. We had to go through and make cuts. We had to cut 20% last year. Expenses, right? Preparing ourselves to knowing that the offices are most likely going to make less money over the next year or so. We survived during that time, and when these little brokerages, boutiques go out of business, and more agents join us, we then thrive as we go through that together. Make sense? I have no idea how I'm doing on time because I don't have the booklet in front of me.
9:44.
9:44, but how much pages do we have left? A lot or a little?
Like about halfway.
Oh my gosh.
39.
All right, we're gonna go a little faster because I have to be done in 15 minutes. I mean, to be fair to me, I didn't look at it before I started talking because I'm not supposed to be teaching right now. So my apologies if we go a little bit over. I'm going to try to cut it right at time. We'll go as quick as we can. So the big 2, payroll, lead generation. Those are your 2 biggest expenses in any realtor business. Who knows the model so well that they know what your payroll budget should be? It's about 9 to 10%, whatever your GCI is. Make sense? So if you're making about $400,000 in GCI, it's actually closer to 12%, about $50,000 in payroll expenses. That's like one great assistant. If you're making $1 million, you're probably close to $120,000, $130,000 in payroll. All right, lead generation. What percentage should you be of your overall business expenses? To be following the model, it's about 9%. So if you're making $80,000, you probably should be spending about $8,000 a year on marketing and lead generation expenses. Make sense? It's about $600, $700 a month. Okay. Lead generation. Shifting market, your lead generation should be focused on prospecting and enhanced by marketing. So prospecting, networking with your Mets, doing things. Lead generate, right? Face-to-face stuff. Prospecting FSBOs and expireds. Hold more open houses, get involved in the community. Megas, personally re-engage. Oh, that's for the mega agents. Go back into your database and re-engage with your people. Marketing, market for direct response. We talked about MOFers last time. Making offers for direct response. Drive customers to speak with you rather than just building your brand. Follow up with marketing with personal contact. What not to cut? Don't cut customer service. Expenses that impact your reach with customers are more important than ever. So for example, if you do a great marketing and you are the media for what's going on in your local economist of choice, but it costs you a little bit of money to do that, don't recommend not knocking that because people are relying on you and seeing that come through. So if you're using a little bit of a budget on that, try not to cut that one. Don't cut training and coaching. This is an investment, it's not an expense. So when you go to trainings, you go to coaching, if you have a coach, that's an investment in your business, right? As long as you're investing in something wise and doing a good investment, you don't want to cut that. You want to keep it, keep investing in yourself. Make the most of what you have. Use human energy. It's going to take more of your energy now than it did in the last 6 years. Put your creativity and your energy into working both harder and smarter. Do the FaceTime transactions yourself. Get more assistants, not assistants. Work with preferred partners that can help you. If you guys have great lenders, if you don't have a great lender that you're collaborating at a high level and they're helping you pay for marketing, and you're converting, and you're giving them leads, and they're giving you leads, you may want to rearrange first know your worth. Know your worth that you're going to do what it takes to convert those leads for your lender. It's a great way to cut down on your lead generation expenses. It's having a great lender that pays for it. All right, now you have to do your part and be great at customer service, but it really is a great tool. If you don't have a lender, there's a lot of new lenders getting into lending. Maybe you find someone that's new like you and you guys collaborate, make something work. Make the most of what you have. Use human energy. Put your creativity energy. I just said that. Maximize your tools. Leverage your yard signs. Use your market center services. Right? You have You have different tools out there. You have services at the office. You have your command, you have your app, you have your website, you have all these tools that are not costing you money. How are you leveraging those? Take advantage of e-edge, that's already uploaded. Okay, look at that, we're making great timing. Bottom line, downturning markets are a huge, huge opportunity to find better ways to run your business. The degree to which you need to respond will depend on the conditions in your local market. We don't know yet. If someone's telling you it's going to fall off a cliff, they know for certain, tell them to shut up. They don't know what they're talking about. If someone tells you it's going to be perfectly fine, you're going to have just a little trend, and we'll be fine over the next few years, tell them to shut up. They don't know what they're talking about. Nobody knows. It could cliff. It could be a little correction. My prediction is we get about a 20% correction. We lose what we gained in the last 2 years. We stay stagnant for 2 to 3 years, and then we see growth again. That's my prediction. What the hell do I know? I don't know. I'm not a professional. A lot of people think I'm an idiot. I don't. Right? Good for them. But that's my prediction. At least I have a prediction. At least I can stand by what I think, and I know data to back it up because I've done the research, right? So nobody knows for sure what will happen locally. I do know if we pay attention to Los Angeles, we'll know what happens locally better. 60-some-odd% of every buyer last year was from LA.
Mm-hmm.
So if LA starts to really slow down, we lose 60% of our buyers, guys. Question every assumption you have and every dollar you spend as a result. Your action plan time. Let's make that action plan. Don't put away this guide without developing a plan to put what you've learned into action. Refer to the action plan on pages 38, 39 to guide your assets and strengths and areas of improvement. Write down steps you will take to improve your skills. Complete it, share it, commit to it. Are those pages correct?
Yeah.
On the action plan, sometimes these pages are off. All right, so the other classes that are coming up is upshifting your lead generation. That's going to be tomorrow. I'll be doing that one again. Then we have seller's pricing strategies on Tuesday, seller staging strategies on Wednesday, lead capture and conversion on Thursday next week. Then we jump back to the week after, the internet lead capture and conversion, then creating urgencies to buy, bulletproofing your transaction, effective people leverage, short sales for closures and REOs, and then financing solutions. So those are the remaining classes. We already did Game Mind Over the Market. That was yesterday. So those are the remaining classes that we're going to be hitting over the next 3 weeks. So you don't have to come to all of them. If you have it available, I recommend you come in and take what you can from these and put this into action. If you're brand new, we'll have Ignite coming up. I believe it's next month. Ignite is it's Ignite Your Business, a great class to jump into for really getting the foundational skills that you need. The Shift class is really going to be focusing on the market's going to be tougher and double down on what you have, what you need to do. What ahas, what can we talk about for the next 5 minutes until the other one starts? And I apologize, guys, for kind of flying through this at the end. I hope George is okay. I'm not sure what happened, but it is what it is. So, what ahas, what do we have that we can talk about?
I have 2 questions.
Sure.
First, where are we going to find the Ignite class?
Ignite will be, just check the calendar. I'm not sure when we have it scheduled. That one is 5 days a week. They've changed Ignite. It's 5 days a week. I think it's 2 hours a day. It's more like an hour of instruction, an hour like getting into lead generation and doing different things around lead generation. It's just timing with that amount of class. It's hard because we have so many preset classes already here. But we're working on making that work. So it'll probably be August.
Okay, and the second question, we can do our own payroll. I haven't started yet, but my accountant wants to charge me $89 every month for it.
To do payroll?
Yeah.
So yes and no. So as you typically when you're making now about, let's say you're making $100,000 in real estate, you want to form a corporation because tax benefits
I
are.
have the corporation.
So you have
I
the-
haven't used it that much. I started in January, but using it for another job.
Perfect.
But I have never done the payroll, so he got a little upset at me and said, "You're not doing the right."
Yeah. So so basically how it's supposed to work is your corporation pays you, and whatever that payment is you get payroll
Yeah.
and you pay
Can
yourself.
I do my own payroll?
That's a great question to confirm with the tax person. And yes, I'm not a tax professional. I don't know. All I know is I didn't do
You said
payroll
cut down
for
the
my
payroll,
corporation.
so how can we cut down the payroll then?
Well, you cut down your payroll by actually like getting rid of people on your team. So if you're paying 4 or 5 other people, but yes, if you're paying $89 a month for have someone to do your payroll for you, you can do it. You have to go through. I don't know the legality behind it and how it works. So I'm the wrong person to ask, but I'm always like the guy that just does things and gets in trouble and I go,
So
oh,
for
whatever.
now, just keep him until you're.
Yeah, and if you jump on Google, you can do it yourself. You don't have to pay someone to do it for you.
Oh, okay. Alright.
And they're the convenience of it. That's where that's at.
Because you're still making me do all my profit and loss by hand.
Actually, you can actually go to the IRS, and they can help you with that.
Oh.
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a form
Thank
that
you.
you have to fill out and give yourself. All right, what other questions? What other ahas? What are we taking away action plan?
Oh, gotta create the P&L. That's like the biggest thing for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Create the P&L. There is a shortcut, easy button. You go to QuickBooks Online, you sign up, you link your bank accounts, and it'll ask you, is this business? You say yes. And it'll organize everything for you.
Come on.
And then the P&L, it's in QuickBooks Online.
Oh.
I think it's like $6 a month.
Okay.
So it really makes things easy. You can generate a P&L for year to date. You can do all sorts of stuff. Money coming in, money coming out. If you have a business account set up, you can do it on a personal account, I guess. I'm not sure how that works.
Okay.
But
I gotta pull it there.
what else do we got?
Make the most of what you have before you start adding more expenses.
I think we get desperate a lot of times. We're like, oh man, business isn't going good. Oh, I'll just buy Zillow leads, and then I'll have business, right? I think Zillow leads are fine if you're in a position to go spend $2,000 a month and not have it hurt you, right? You get to that position, earn the right to spend the money before you spend it, right? So we do red light, green light. So meaning that if you're thinking about hiring an assistant, you're getting there, business is going well, put money aside for 6 months of paying that person, at least 3 months of paying that person. And then when you hire that person, that first 3 months, if you don't see immediate return on your investment, meaning that she frees up so much time for you, you could go double down on your business, you have to let that person go. Same thing with Zillow. If you pretend you buy Zillow leads, you need to have your contract money to the side. So if you're doing $2,000 a month and you sign to your contract, well then you have to have $24,000 sitting over to the side to pay that, right? And if you don't see that immediate return coming in on that investment, you need to cut that contract. A lot of times you can't because you signed a contract, you have to pay for the year. But you need to see the return on investment. If you don't see the return, you shouldn't be in it. And I would never recommend doing a year contract with something if they don't let you try it for 3 months. Like, I'll try it for 3 months. And if they say no, I would be out. Because I want to see what it looks like for 3 months. I don't want to hold 24 grand to the side and have it go away to nothing. Or if I do 3 deals from it and I lose money. 3 months, if I feel the ads are good and things are going well and I have return on investment, then I'd be willing to do that. If that makes sense. One more.
Utilizing the resources of command.
Yeah, I mean, we have,
I dabble, so I just get like serious.
we have so much here. I tell agents that are new that I meet with, and if you're not with Keller Williams, we have so many tools. We're a buffet, and there's so much food, and a lot of times like, oh, this all just looks so good, I'm just gonna sit here. Like, get up and go use some of it. I mean, Command alone, you could go in the referral section in Command, click the map, see where referrals are coming from, and go to those areas and ask everyone to be your referral partner of choice, and send them a message or email them or whatever you need to do, and become referral partners with these people, because those referrals are coming in, and spending an hour a week doing that, adding as much referral people as you possibly could, and get a ton of money in referrals. Nobody does it, because it's just one more thing that we have that we forget about. You could go on Command on the, he's alive! He's not dead!
I thought class was at 11.
That's all right. I just wing it, dude. I'm just good at winging it. I'm just kidding. I taught this one before, luckily, so we were all good. But anyways, the tool sets that we have in there, you go to Command and just do social media ads. Grab a listing and put get into this home for $5,000 down. will generate you 20, 30 leads for $100 in Facebook. Most agents don't do that. Go in there and do a postcard with market update, hit 200 neighborhoods, and keep hitting that same, or 200 houses in a neighborhood by selecting your house and do 200 houses around it, make a postcard, and mail it out on command for like 60 cents a postcard. And do that with an offer. Learn how to sell down your rate, I don't know, whatever your offer is that you're creating, and hit those houses over and over and over again. You could do that and come in. There's so much that you can do. Keller Mortgage. You could dive into Keller Mortgage with all the offers and deals that they have and advertise that and be the Keller Mortgage king of our area, because nobody does that, right? So there's so many tools that you could jump in and do. Pick one and go do it. There's so much. We have so much opportunity that all they do is give value to try to make it a value for you. Okay, we're out of time. We're right at 10 o'clock. Thank you guys. If you are in track starts right now. So you're welcome to stick around for track. If not, we'll see you guys tomorrow. I believe tomorrow is upshifting your lead generation. And I'll be here. I'll be here at 9. I don't know if George will be here. Who knows? He'll be here next week on Wednesday.
I won't.
Nice!
All right, see you guys.
Thank you.
Good to do a George line. Guys, if you don't put the time,
And we recorded it, so you can just watch the recording.
Hey, good morning, Bert. The mentorship program, but you can say.
Yeah.
I gotta do the phone call with
It's hot in here. Do me a favor, Andrew. Tell Mike to turn on the AC.
Okay.
Alright.